instantly destroyed.
We've reset that poll, so go ahead and vote for who you think is going to win in chat.
So going into game 2 of Lacante versus ClassicMetal, Lacante losing the first game, so ClassicMetal up to 1 point. ClassicMetal to the north of the map in purple, Lacante to the south in blue, and Lacante switched up his build a little bit, decides to go with sniper balloons. Really good choice against those falcons, just insta-kills those falcons. So I think that'll be a really strong unit choice. Not very good against their squirrels though, which could be a problem.
Yeah, these bases are really close to one another. I think it's going to favor ClassicMetal with his giant squirrel ball play, unless Lacante can get some turrets up on that high ground to defend, which he could do. But again, ClassicMetal has lots of choices for expansions all around him if Lacante decides to close up in this corner and just defend. We'll see if ClassicMetal decides to actually go for any expansions this time, or just push through like he did last time. But throwing on that dual commander visibility, so you can see what each commander is seeing. Twitch chat is in favor of ClassicMetal after that dominant display.
It really was dominant. ClassicMetal was showing that he can really get the most out of that one base. That was an insane amount of army value just from that. Really good control of his econ there. Lacante going with, it looks like he's going to try and match the amount of squirrels ClassicMetal has to get the advantage here. Not going with any skunks or anything like that.
So what's Lacante's strategy here to beat this giant? I mean, he's seen that ClassicMetal has gone for a large squirrel ball, and I'm sure he's watched some replays from pool play and seen that that's ClassicMetal's preferred strategy. So what does Lacante do in this situation to respond to that?
He's going to have to rely on those skunks. I think if he builds quite a few skunks, and then those snakes maybe, to deal with the falcons, that could be enough to deal with it. ClassicMetal pushes in right now with those squirrels, but I don't think he has enough to bust through Lacante's defense. He has those warrens to tank, and he's now putting down a turret as well, but that turret is going to get taken down before it can even shoot, so it's actually a big deal for Lacante. If he loses this warren, that's going to put him a little bit behind, but he does.
Alright, and ClassicMetal has died, but his squirrels just kind of kept firing there. ClassicMetal's last squirrel is going to die, but in come 5 more to reinforce. Is Lacante going to go down again? That skunk is out. He is on the high ground.
The skunk just gets taken down by those squirrels. Those squirrels just... he's streaming them in. They have a really quick respawn time, and he can just stream them in constantly, putting so much pressure on Lacante here. He's going to have to get up some sort of defense
to
actually ward this off. Okay, he's putting down an MG nest.
That MG nest is going to help a lot, especially if he can keep his units alive, keep that skunk alive there. But ClassicMetal's already back up to 12 squirrels.
And he's putting down a falcon now. So as soon as that falcon comes out, Lacante can't just rely on these skunks anymore.
Alright, but here we go.
And
2 skunks up now.
The MG nests and the skunks do ward off that attack very effectively. Once that falcon comes out, it's not going to be as easy.
There we go. Look at that.
Maybe if he can...
ClassicMetal's army dropping all the way to 0, so losing all of his units there. And Lacante needs to push forward and take advantage of this temporary lax in squirrels.
Maybe if Lacante can just hold off until ClassicMetal, I don't know, maybe loses his farms or something? Maybe that could work, but the ClassicMetal has a really easy expansion right next to him, so I don't know what Lacante can do here. He is building snakes this time, which he didn't have time to do last game. That squirrel falcon ball just built up too quickly. I think it's important here that Lacante does keep having these duels to stop ClassicMetal from building his army too quickly. If he can force him to spend money on reinforcements, then maybe he can get ahead.
And Classic has dropped some of his squirrel warrens in favor of an expansion and some more falcon warrens. And Lacante, I think, is ahead in army value, just barely. But ClassicMetal taking that expansion this time, maybe realizing that if Lacante holds up, he's not going to be able to punch through those defenses. So smartly expanding now. 4 minutes and 30 seconds, which means that in about 30 seconds, the 4 original farms at each base are going to farm out. So both players need to have an expansion up if they want to stay in this game.
And here we go. ClassicMetal comes in again, just tries to push in against these squirrels and snakes, and he does manage to take out a lot of those units there. He takes out most of Lacante's squirrels, and I don't know if there was 1 or 2 snakes, but he has none left now, so big deal there. Sniper balloon going up for Lacante right on his main. That's going to stop an attack from coming in being too potent.
Yeah,
And he's
especially
going to start putting farms in on his expansion now.
if he manages to take away those the squirrel shield to be able to take out those falcons a lot more effectively with that sniper balloon. Of course, we hit that 5-minute mark, so all 4 original farms at each base has gone down. Classic Metal's a little bit earlier on the draw in terms of getting his expansion up. It's closer, but Lacante does have an expansion at least, and he's baiting that army into that sniper balloon. Again, if we switch to Classic Metal's vision, you can see he knows it's there, but he can't target it because it's on that high ground.
It's actually tough for Lacante here though, because every time he pushes forward like this and retreats, he does lose a couple of units. That time he lost that snake, that's quite valuable. And Classic Metal's really far ahead on economy now, up to 10 farms against Lacante's 7. Lacante is going to try and put a little bit more into his farms, but Classic Metal is going to be able to build up a really strong army here.
I think Lacante needs to put down some defensive structures right now to hold this center portion of the map here. Or else Classic Metal's just going to kind of push through his army. He does have those pigeons out now, so those squirrels will have a little bit of defense against those skunks. But a tense match.
Classic Metal's just going to put even more food into these falcons. I think he can just build more and more falcons. And Lacante, now if you look at army value, Lacante is behind on army value, and Classic Metal's just going to get further and further ahead as Lacante tries to work on his expansion. He's completely lost the farming potential of his main now, and so Classic Metal has as well, but Classic Metal already has that expansion up and running.
Alright, short engagement there, a skunk almost going down. Lacante needs to be really careful with his tier 2 units. He needs to keep them in the back of his army, especially when retreating, because those falcons are just going to be able to burst down any units that get left behind. Of course, running in this game is often a death sentence for any units that are in the back of an army.
Classic Metal going up to a lot of falcons here, and Lacante has nothing to do with that. He has those 2 snakes and those 9 squirrels, but I don't think that's going to be enough, and I don't think he has quite a big enough squirrel shield to actually be able to absorb the falcon burst fire. It's going to be really tough for him to come ahead in these fights. He is, I think, going to be relying on these sniper balloons. Look at the army value graph though. Look at that. Classic Metal has a massive advantage right now.
Alright, that other sniper balloon, not quite getting in yet, but is going to start taking down those falcons. Especially, those pigeons are going to heal those falcons from that snake poison, but if the falcon gets taken down all in one burst, the pigeons aren't going to do anything. So Classic Metal putting down some turrets here, deciding to take it a little bit slower, see if he can out-eco Lacante, but Lacante has got this expansion up in the west here.
He is slowly going to come ahead on this, on the farms, but Classic Metal is going for the exact same play. Goes forward, takes down that balloon here, and now has this high ground, and he can easily take out Lacante's entire army, apparently. Just those massive falcons completely decimate Lacante's army.
Siding
in. He had nothing to deal with it.
And Classic Metal's going to take game 2. Lacante, after losing that army, just decides, I can't deal with this.
He just has nothing to do with these falcons after he takes down the squirrels. Like, he doesn't even have enough time to take out the squirrels at that point in the game. It's just too many falcons, so much burst. It's insane.